today, basically, we are going to focus, I'm going to give you an overall view of these 6 curriculum types that are used by the UK board. Okay, so all are under UK board. Most of you are familiar with Edexcel, GCSE, IGCSE, AQA, CIE, OCR, and Oxford AQA. Before I start, can I ask you what are the curriculums that you have taught or you are teaching now? Edexcel boards,
I'm teaching
that's the most common one.
Edexcel, CIE. Yeah, Edexcel, GCSE, IGCSE, and CIE.
CIE. Anybody who has taught AQA, Oxford AQA, and OCR?
Yes, AQA I have taught.
AQA you have taught. Okay. What about OCR and Oxford AQA? These are a lesser known and lesser practiced one. The first 4 are the more important one. So how would you I mean, before I get into the details and the nitty-gritties, how would you describe these describe these boards? What do you feel about it? What do you feel about the assessment techniques and the curriculum and whatever books they use? What do you feel about that? How holistic are they in their approach? Or is it comparable to the Indian curriculum? If you are teaching both, I mean, CBSE and the UK board or ICSE also?
Yes. So as far as I can see from my experience, so these Edexcel is comparable with ICSE and
Yep.
IISc board also. So
Sir,
some
you're
topics are
teaching,
also.
you're teaching science, right?
Yeah, I teach science and maths. Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
What
So
about the assessment system? Is it comparable?
No, assessment is not comparable. I would say assessment is a little different over here in Edexcel, because in CBSE, ICSE. So if we talk about from the school's point of view, so school's point of view, the curriculum is, let's say in CBSE they have assessment, let's say essay, and in between they have FA. Sometimes they also call let's say cycle test, CT, or UT unit test. So in Edexcel, I think they have like paper 1, paper 2, and some topics are there. So it's little different than the Indian system. Or
they have 2 papers.
2 papers.
In maths, if you're teaching GCSE, they have 3 papers, 2 Cal and 1 non-Cal paper.
Correct. 2 Cal and 1 non-Cal. Yes.
Non-Cal paper, yes.
Yeah. And from the calculation point of view, CBSE, they even ICSE also, they don't allow calculators.
GCSE, any UK board allows calculators.
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody teaching English for any of these boards?
Yes, ma'am. I'm teaching GCSE Edexcel, and I found that mostly they focus on writing skills when compared to CBSE.
Writing skills. No, but if you are doing Edexcel GCSE, the paper has equal weightage to reading as well as writing.
Yeah, but and comprehension passages also that I understood. But then what I found was they are focusing more on writing, whereas in CBSE we have grammar, then literature, language, everything together.
Yeah.
So they are here in Edexcel GCSE, the language is separate, literature is separate.
Literature is separate. They have two papers.
Yes, whereas in CBSE it's not like that.
Yeah,
because
CBSE
in one
English
paper,
is CBSE. Exactly. Even I have taught, and please pardon me for saying this, CBSE English is not English. I wouldn't categorize that as English. That is something of very low category. I mean, I don't know. ICSE, they have good English standard, but CBSE is it's quite low. I have corrected CBSE papers also, so I don't know how to term that. What about anybody doing science? Teaching science for this AQA, CIE? Sir, you teach science also, right?
I took science for year 8, this GCSE.
Okay. So the syllabus is comparable to The syllabus is comparable to the Indian counterparts?
Not exactly. It's pretty different. Like in GCSE, I saw like they have the other curriculum activities also, like building apps and all those things, which is not there in Indian curriculum. So that part was like something different. And in terms of syllabus, if I say in terms of syllabus, I felt it's not that difficult. I think syllabus wise, more chapters are there in Indian curriculum, whereas the syllabus part in terms of chapters was less in GCSE.
But
the
more
other
in depth.
Yeah, more in depth, yes. And conceptual wise, like the logical questions were more there in GCSE part.
Yes. Because GCSE, for most of the part, they do not encourage rote learning. That's the thing. Okay,
And
let's start now.
Practicals were typically more in GCSE than this Indian curriculum.
Yes. Okay, so we'll start with Edexcel GCSE because this is the only GCSE. So if I go to this, okay, so I have given the link for all the curriculums. When the PPT is shared with you, you can click on those links and you can get an overall view. So GCSE is the General Certificate of Secondary Education. So this is the national curriculum of England, right? So GCSE, the main difference between GCSE and IGCSE, so AQA, CIE and Edexcel IGCSE, not OCR, the Oxford AQA, these are all the liquidated version of GCSE. Why I'm saying so? Because GCSE is something that is designed for the natives. Okay, and the IGCSE, all the IGCSEs, they are designed for the non-natives, people who do not, whose first language is not English, whose mother tongue is not English, and who is, and people who are giving exams from other parts of the world. So IGCSE is mainly focused on them, whereas GCSE is mainly focused on home students. Even in Dubai, I don't know the scene in India right now, but in Dubai, there are very few schools who offer GCSE. Many schools offer IGCSEs, but very school offers pure GCSE. And even if they offer GCSE, they take maybe the core subjects, maybe maths and English for GCSE, and the other non-core subjects like the science and the commerce, they prefer to take IGCSE because the scoring is easy, the grade boundaries are lower, and the students find it easy to access those. So GCSE, again, one more difference between GCSE and all other IGCSEs. So this is the only GCSE and everything else is IGCSE, is that there is no coursework. That means there is no internal assessment that is going on except for the spoken language, which is being done in English. So the GCSE is definitely, it is highly valued by schools, and there are more than 40 subjects. They have art and design, all that you know. English language and mathematics is compulsory. So these are the only two core subjects, right? And then you have the science and commerce. People can choose all three sciences. People can choose all three commerce. But in some countries, like in UAE, for example, they always prefer, even if commerce students are there, they will always tell them to choose one science subject and two commerce subjects. Then, of course, there are other subjects as well. From these are, as we know in in the Indian term, these are the elective subjects. So you have history, geography. So these are all subjects that you can either choose. Even English literature, you can either choose or drop. Okay, so there is ICT, there is computer science, and a whole lot of other, languages, French. So those are all subjects that people take. Also religious studies. There is no coursework, as I told you, and there is no controlled assessment. So there is no coursework in any subject. In English, maths, science, or in any other subjects, there is no coursework, which we can see in IGCSE. that's why I'm saying that IGCSE, it gives a, easier path, a tad bit easier path, to the students, to the international students. GCSE, everything is corrected by the board, okay? And there is no controlled assessment. Previously, if you have been teaching GCSE for long, I mean, for maybe before 2016. So before 2016, GCSE used to offer some controlled assessment in terms of in subjects like science, physics, chemistry, and bio. However, if you are teaching the students today, you will notice that these have been replaced by core practicals. Okay, so that is very different from controlled assessment. This is another thing that the GCSE people have to do, English, because it's the Queen's language, as we say now, it's the King's language, of course, that they have to appear for a spoken language endorsement. Without passing the spoken language endorsement, or without appearing for the spoken language endorsement, no matter what or how good the child is in any subject, they cannot get the certification at the end of O levels. So they have to appear for the spoken language endorsement, and there are no marks. There is just distinction, merit, and pass. So these are the three categories under which it is mentioned. Now, GCSE, before 2017, the grading system was different. If you have been teaching, as I told you, 2016 and previously, it used to be A star, A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth. However, as of now, after that, when the new syllabus was introduced and the entire spec was changed, the specification, when it was changed, we went to 9-to-1 grading system. So this 9-to-1 grading system, it acts in a very, very peculiar way. It is not a percentage anymore that you get 90% and above, you get an A star. It works on the percentile. So if the highest, so this is how it works. I am not a maths person, but still I'll try to explain a bit. So if a child, or if the highest in 2024 GCSE result is 99 in English, the 9 will start, which is the highest rank. It will start from there, and it will go down, and then 8, and then 7, and so on and so forth. Another year, maybe last year, if the highest in English was 97, then 9 will start from there. So this is how it works. And that is why, if you go to the Edexcel website, I have given the link for you. If you go to the Edexcel website, and if you see, there is always a slight variation of the grade boundaries each year. It can be 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks, 5 marks. It is a very negligible one, but that makes a lot of difference when it comes to the students. So roughly, if I say A and A star is 7, 8, and 9, B and C is 4, 5, and 6 in the recent grading system, and D, E, F, G is 1, 2, and 3 in the recent grading system. That is how it is comparable, but it is not stuck to any particular marks. It depends on the result, on the overall or holistic result of that year. Now, for me, it is very difficult to go, subject-wise, how each subject operates. But overall, I can tell you that each subject, apart from maths, most of the subjects have 2 papers. Maths has 3 papers, as sir already said, that there are 2 cal papers and 1 non-cal paper. And English, like literature, it has 2 papers, 80. English language has 2 papers, which is 64 and 96 marks, and so on and so forth. So various papers, they have various demands. Although it is a paper-based thing, but it depends a lot of projects, research work, and how it is more of interpretation. As I already said, that UK board relies, all the UK board, whether it is GCSE or IGCSE, they rely less on the rote memory, and they focus more on application. For example, if I take in English, for example, just to give you an example. So English language paper, there are 2 papers in Edexcel GCSE. So one is non-fiction paper. Paper 1 is a fiction paper, which is 19th century fiction, and paper 2 is a non-fiction paper. So paper 1 is again divided into 2 parts, 24 and 40 marks. So that 24 marks is focused on reading. So there, the children are expected to analyze, evaluate, infer, deduce, all of that. And the second part, that is the writing part, it is imaginative writing. In the second paper, which is a non-fiction paper, there are two extracts. That is an extract 21st century and one from 20th century. Generally, one is a literary non-fiction and the other one is a pure non-fiction. And again, they are tested on all these evaluative skills and analytical skills. So although GCSE or IGCSE, they do not teach grammar, adverb, adjective, how we teach in ICSE and CBSE. But if you see DFE, the department of, the education that is there, you will see it is there from 1 to 6, from lower primary to the higher primary. The lower primary is 1, 2, 3, 4 according to the UK board, and the higher primary is 5 and 6. There is a lot of focus not only on grammar but also on phonics. If you want, I can send you the link to DFE. You will see for each year it is mentioned, these are the words, these are the prefixes, these are the suffixes, this is the grammar, this is the phonics that you need to learn. It is detailed. It is maybe a 100 or 124 page document. If you go through it, you will understand how. But once the kids are in secondary, that is how I told you in case 3, that is in year 7, the grammar is integrated and it is not taught separately. They are supposed to know it because it is not a second language that they are doing. It is there, they are learning it as their first language. So that is the main difference between the UK board, all UK boards, I will say, and even if you go to iPrimary, there is another source which is easily iPrimary. If you go to iPrimary, there are certain UK boards which uses iPrimary. There are certain UK boards which uses DFE. So DFE is generally the GCSE board uses DFE. The IGCSE board uses iPrimary. If you see the iPrimary, you will see the levels and the sub-levels and how they are proceeding from one grammar to the other grammar, from one phonic to the other phonic, to the monosyllabic word, to the polysyllabic word. Sorry, I'm talking in terms of English because I teach English so that it comes more naturally. So that is the difference. So this is the overall view of the Edexcel GCSE. Is there any question before I go to the next slide? Any question?
Okay, so I have one question. In the last session, you were telling that we'll share some resources.
There I have given the link. All resources are there.
Okay.
For
fine,
all
fine.
boards, I have given the link. It goes directly to their website, and then if you click, there is teaching resource, there is exam material, there is specification, everything is there. So but it's a you need to just navigate the website and go to the okay. So we go to the next one. So this is IGCSE. So IGCSE, it is similar. Again, I have given the website. So IGCSE, again, it is the same thing that they are offering in GCSE, but of course it is a simplified version. You have language, science, maths, social science, creative arts, ICT, physical education, business management. Okay, availability of the subject, definitely it varies from school to school. The grading system of Edexcel IGCSE has also changed after 2016. So initially it was from A star to G, and now it is changed to 9 to 1. What I have told you about the GCSE grading system, it is the Edexcel IGCSE, it is comparable to that. And now the difference between this and that is that there is a coursework, there is internal assessment. So Edexcel IGCSE follows a pattern where you can combine internal assessment and external assessment. Again, the choice depends on the school. So for example, if I'm talking about English, so there are 2 papers, but if you do a coursework, then you just need to appear for 1 paper. So a part is 50% is your internal assessment, 50% is your, the external assessment, right? So, And the internal assessment, although the teachers are marking in the school, but that doesn't mean that they can give any marks, because they have to send exemplars of their corrected work and whatever they have given with, and it's a very tedious process. I have done it, so I know it. It's a very, very tedious process, because you have to justify each mark that you have added and each mark that you have taken out. So once that is approved by the board, you get your results. Sometimes the results change because they do not agree with your marks. They might increase the marks or decrease the mark, but generally it does not happen. But yes, that is the overall view. So it is not very different from the Edexcel GCSE. Only thing is that it is for the international students. So the level, especially English, it is lower. It is not as low as CBSE, but it is lower than IGCSE. For example, there is more time. There is less of mark and more time. So, for example, paper 2 in GCSE, 96 marks, 2 hours 5 minutes, and there I don't remember the exact marks. It is I think 60 something, and they have it for 2 hours 15 minutes. So it is used mainly to facilitate the international students. Any questions before I go to the next slide on Edexcel IGCSE? Any question? So here in IGCSE, they still have the controlled assessments. So that is like you have coursework for English, there is controlled assessment for science. So that is still there. So that is their coursework. Any question from anyone? Okay, I go to the next one. Okay, now the third one is the AQA. The AQA is Assessment and Qualification Alliance. As I told you, there are many, schools which opt for AQA. So AQA is again mostly it gives the it is an IGCSE, although it is written General Certificate of Secondary Education, but they generally cater to the international students, international O-level students, and international A-level students. So the subjects that are offered in Edexcel is comparable to the subjects that is offered in AQA. So it covers a diverse spectrum of subjects, including traditional academic disciplines, practical and vocational subjects. AQA has similar, so I'm not going through that. It's maths, English, bio, literature, everything is there. Again, like other IGCSE subjects, here also AQA, there is an option of taking coursework and doing one paper or doing both papers. So it is that way. The assessment structure typically consists of a combination of written exams, coursework, and practical assessment. When I'm saying practical assessment, I'm referring to the controlled assessment that is done in commerce and in science subjects. So written assessments, generally, they are significant in the assessment of, the students' theoretical knowledge, and the core practicals, they focus on the application-based, knowledge. And so coursework is very important. Why? Because coursework, it gives the people to apply. Again, reiterating the fact that it does not focus on rote memory. So it focuses more on creativity, problem solving skills, and theoretical knowledge. Sadly, something that is missing from the Indian curriculums. It is not as developed as the UK in terms of all these skills. So the GCSE, again, all these specification underwent a huge change. They revamped themselves in 2016. And again, this was from A star to G, the grading system, but now it has been replaced by 9-1. Again, the grade boundaries set by AQA determine the minimum marks required to achieve each grade. Okay. And it again, depends on the highest grade of that year. So now, what is the main difference between GCSE and AQA, right? So GCSE, it's awarded to students in the UK, typically at the age of 16, right? AQA is the refers to specific exams and assessment process conducted by the AQA board. For example, if my school is holds the certificate of Edexcel GCSE, but still I can choose some AQA papers also. So that is the main difference between the Edexcel and the AQA GCSE. The main difference lies in the structure and the assessment methods. Edexcel GCSE is known for a more modular approach where they take multiple exams throughout the course, while AQA follows a more linear structure and with the exams at the end of the course. The content and the grading also differs for both the boards. Okay, so that is the main difference between the Edexcel and the AQA board. The grading, although it's 9-1, but the grading criteria, not the system, the grading criteria, the grade descriptors, and the modular versus the linear examination. Any question before I go through? Because if you go through this, there is a lot more that you can see if you go through the websites. Any question for AQA? Okay, I guess there are no questions. CIE. Okay, that's the last of the important boards. Okay, now the CIE, again, assessment, it's something similar to AQA. So for subject specific, you need to go and read the specification. So that's why I have given the link for everything. So written, oral, exam, coursework, practical assessment. So that is there. Grades are benchmarked here by using still A star to G. Now, CIE, okay, one thing I forgot to tell you, sorry, for Edexcel GCSE, there is a higher tier and lower tier paper. So for that is only applicable in science, definitely it is there. Maths, definitely it is there. Commerce, I'm not very sure if they have a higher tier and lower tier paper. English, it is standardized. There is no lower tier paper. So generally, if you have any SEND students, the special education needs students, you will see that they'll be doing the lower tier paper, and it is written the lower tier paper. So that is the but that is mainly designed for them. So it is not only a liquidated version of the higher tier paper, but there are very different topics also that are taken in the lower tier paper that you will see in the Edexcel GCSE. Now the Cambridge, they have two types of papers, the core and the extended papers. Now the core papers are the papers which everyone can attend. This is again comparable to the higher and lower tier papers. The extended ones, right, are for the high achievers. Okay, for the high achievers and for the professional training, people who want to add on, like we do 2 masters or 2 grads. So people who want to add on to their degrees, like they have to take a minimum of 8 subjects for all these UK boards. But if they want to challenge themselves and if they want to take on additional subjects, then they'd go for the extended papers. So grades are something similar. There is an overlap of grades, and okay, so for some subjects the core and extended is available, as I told you, for GCSE it's like the higher and the lower tier, but in some subjects it is not available. So that is there. Now, what is the main difference between CIE and Edexcel? So curriculum wise, the CIE and Edexcels, they differ slightly depending on the subject, but in general, CIE, IGCSEs tend to have more theoretical and knowledge-based approach, while the Edexcel focuses on the practical approach. The assessment, not the GCSE, the CIE and the IGCSEs, Edexcel IGCSE, they are a combination of coursework and exam, right? But CIE IGCSE, they have more coursework and project-based than the Edexcel IGCSEs. Grading, they use, CIE and Edexcel IGCSE both use their grading system. CIE numerical grading is there, and CIE is this A star to E, whereas Edexcel IGCSE, it's the numerical grading. Both are equally recognized, definitely, but Edexcel IGCSE, you will have more students from Edexcel IGCSE than CIE because it is a more recognized board. Okay, so these are the main differences. Any question before I go on to the AQA? Okay, I guess there are no questions now. Okay, let's go to the OCR. Now, I don't want to go into too much of OCR because you will not have many students of OCR. OCR actually stands for Oxford, Cambridge, and RSA examination, right? Again, they give GCSE and A levels, and it is something similar to what we have, but it is not taken by the international students. So it is something that you will not find, people. Did anybody have OCR students taking OCR exams? Anyone from this group? No one.
No, I think.
No one had OCR students. That's what I'm saying, that OCR generally they take it in UK. That's why I'm not getting into too much of details here, because you will hardly...
Just one interruption, Konkonika, we haven't yet received any student lead from OCR yet.
Yeah. Because OCR, generally it's generally it is not taken up by international students. Anybody outside UK.
Okay, understood.
Very few schools will be OCR certified schools. So that's why I'm giving a very brief. I'm not going into details because it will not add on to your knowledge. So these are the boards. If you see, these are all boards which are there in UK. These are the West Midland Board, Oxford Delegates. These are all UK boards. So under OCR, these are the different boards. Okay. So then we come to the Oxford AQA. Did anybody have Oxford AQA?
Yes. Oxford AQA students, we did get a few. I will not recollect the names now, but there were students we had.
Yeah. Yes,
On and off
but
we get.
very few students, because mostly
Correct.
it is Edexcel, CIE, AQA.
Yes.
These are the main, giants in giving the certification. So Oxford AQA, as you can see, it is a partnership between Oxford University Press and AQA. That is it.
Yes.
So again, very, very similar approach. I will give you a detailed one. So Oxford AQA, actually, it is specially designed for people who are not native speakers of English. Okay, so it is mainly project based, and there are real life. It's mainly very much project based, and I'll go into that fair assessment later, but it is very student friendly. I can say that it is very student friendly, and it does not restrict a student to some very it does not straight jacket a student into a particular path. So there are various ways. So it gives you opportunities. If a child is a kinesthetic learner, he can do a project and submit and will be assessed on that. If a child is a visual learner, can make a PPT and submit. So it is a very diverse curriculum, and it is generally to accommodate students from the international, from the international phase. I'll give you a very brief. See, this is how they approach the progression. 2 to 5 years play-based learning. If you can see, 5 to 11 years English, science. These are the core thing. Then see, 11 to 14 years. Then 6 subjects. Then foundations. Then 14 to 16 years is the assessments, tailored international schools. That's what I said. International, and then you have the A level. But it is, you can see in all of these, it is very project based, and less of writing, although there is exam at the end, but of the core subjects, but it is generally focusing on this. Now, what I said about the fair assessment is, it measures a student's ability in the subject that they have studied. So only 6 subjects as opposed to 8 subjects or 9 subjects in the GCSEs or the other IGCSEs. Here it is 6 subjects only, right? So these assessments measure what they are supposed to measure. So it is very, I wouldn't say bookish, but it is application based, but based on what they have studied. Okay. It effectively differentiates the students' performance. So as I told you, the kinesthetic and the visual learners, all of that. And it specifically caters to people who speak English as their second language. And so that is there. And of course, the correction is also a bit on the, lenient side. So this is how it goes, right? So this I have just told you because this, progression I have just shown you, because you will not see many people coming from this, this curriculum. And the last part before we go into the question answer round is this. This is your difference between GCSE, IGCSE, A-level and IBDP. So what are the key factors, age group structure, assessment, what do you need to consider, and how it will affect you in the later life. So I think this will be sent to you, all right? Right? Will the PPT be sent to them, the teachers? Hello, can anyone hear me? Will the PPT be sent to the teachers?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I think they will have a closer look of this, if you see,
Correct.
because I have put this comparison. So you can see, even for IBDP, I have tried to put in some, points here so that you know what happens. Okay, now we come to the question answer round. Any doubts that you might